How's it going, guys? My name is Chris and welcome back to another health empowerment video. The purpose of this video is to help give you some tips and tricks that I found in my own experience in coping with depression on how you can stay out of that downward spiral of going into a deep depression when you first start to see the very first symptoms. Major depression tends to be a recurring thing. If you've had an episode of major depression, there's about an 80% chance that you're going to have another episode. So I think best preparing yourself with as many tools in your toolbox as possible is the best thing that you can do for yourself. The purpose of this channel is to give people those tools they need to thrive despite any health circumstance. So if that sounds like something that interests you, consider subscribing. I've been coping with major depression for greater than a decade and probably longer. I just wasn't officially diagnosed, but I was likely coping with the symptoms. I remember a great deal of sadness towards the end of high school and in the beginning of college, and I would put on a mask and just pretend that everything was okay, and I always had this sense of irritability and dread, but I just pushed on anyways because it seemed like the thing to do, and I thought that maybe I could work my way out of it. The problem with that approach is that I was ignoring what was really there all along, and there was a complete lack of mindfulness. I had no idea that really I was deeply depressed, and I was working myself into a deeper cycle of depression the whole time. Maybe you can relate to something like this. You know, I'm curious if you've had an experience. I'd love to hear about it in the comment section below. Now, what I've learned over the years is there are often some early warning signs that occur when I'm about to go into a cycle of a deeper depression. A lot of times they tend to happen in the fall and the winter, and in this particular fall and winter I found it to be challenging for me more than usual. Fortunately, I have a lot of tools that I use to cope with major depression and anxiety, and I know if I put them to use that I'm going to get better in the long run. It's just going to take time. It's a cycle like anything else. I've been through medications, I've been through several types of therapies, and they've certainly been helpful. So if you're coping with major depression, I sincerely hope that you are seeking treatment and medical management of your condition. What this video is meant to do is to give you the tools, the lifestyle type tools that you can use to further help that along. So some of the things that I'm talking about are getting to know yourself a little bit better and what those symptoms are. Part of this comes with experience, and I wish I could say that it's going to be the same for you, but it varies for different people. But for me, I'll give you an idea of what it looks like when I know I'm going to slip into a deep depression. I tend to feel a lot more fatigued. I tend to not be as motivated to get things done. I'm a lot more irritable towards people, still able to function, but I feel a lot more irritable towards people, and it's hard for me to connect with them on a deeper level. I tend to seclude myself from other people more during these times instead of going out and trying to have fun with family or friends. And when I notice that this is progressing and I'm finding more and more hours alone at home, that's when I know my depression is really starting to take hold. Once you've identified what your symptoms are and you're aware of what those are and you're starting to be like, okay, I'm starting to go into another one of my cycles of depression. What can I do? Here's the number one thing I want you to remember. Get up, get out, and get moving. And it might feel like you don't want to do that, but believe me, that's the number one thing you want to do, because people like me, people maybe like you who are coping with depression, we tend to ruminate, right? We'll hash out everything in our brain and try to catastrophize and find the worst possible scenario. And the more time you have alone, not that there's anything wrong with alone time, I encourage you to meditate and reflect on your thoughts in a neutral way. But a lot of people that aren't trained won't be able to do that, and they'll tend to just focus on the negatives exclusively because it's so overwhelming with the depression. Whether you have changes, neurochemical changes in your brain or not. So every day, get up, get out, and get moving. Those things are going to help you a lot, even if you can only manage to just take a walk. If you can get to the gym or something, great. If you can go swimming, if you can connect these things with other people, even better. I mean, that's a real thing, is the connection with other people will help you a long ways in preventing your depression from getting worse. And the strange thing is that it doesn't feel like maybe it's the right thing to do. You just feel like you want to curl up in a little ball and you don't want to be around other people because it feels like the flu of the brain, of your entire mind, and it just feels like the best thing would be to curl up in a corner. But believe me, it's only gonna make it worse, and that's true. That's one thing I can say is true with almost everybody with depression, is the more time you spend isolated, alone, the worse it's gonna get. The worse it's gonna get in almost all cases. So find people, even if you're an introvert. That doesn't mean you have to go out and go into like a crazy party or anything like that. You just need to connect with other people. You need to find those that lift you up, that make you feel good, and spend time with them. And try and find ways that make you happy too. So whatever activities you need to do to connect with other people and have some fun to counter some of the depression, as much as you can, that's going to go a long ways, more than anything I've found in over my decade of researching major depressive disorder. I'd love to hear in the comments section below what you've done to keep yourself from spinning out of control into major depression. Have you identified your symptoms? Have you been able to come out of major depression using a combination of different things? What are these things that you've done? I'd love for you to share them so we can both empower other people. I hope this was helpful, guys. These are the kind of videos that I do. I give people the tools they need to thrive despite any health circumstance. I also build online courses to help people with depression and anxiety to better manage their conditions. And we also have a bi-weekly support group as well. If that's something you're interested in, check out my website at healthyconsumer.com. Be sure to subscribe and hit the little bell so you never miss another video. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Have a great day, guys.